Yeah, once the temperatures start creeping up, perfect time to start on your gardening. Earth Day continues here on Good Day Rochester. And our green living expert, Kristin Skarie, is here now. I heard the term community garden. What does that mean?
Yes, so in the World War I, World War II time period, there were victory gardens, so promoting, feeling empowered that you could do something in your own backyard. So many of the people who were running the farms in our agriculture at that time were being called to war.
Sure.
So at home, people were doing gardening, and of course, all of our farmer friends all along the way as well. And it continued to spark a movement of growing food in your own backyard, and not everyone has space. So in Rochester, I noted we've probably got about a dozen community gardens, a few in the city and then a few in the outskirts as well. And so whether the garden is in your own backyard, in which many people had at that time, or shared space, so not everyone has that room in there, or lives in an area where they've got an arm's reach to some dirt. Yeah. So it's a nice way to do things if you don't have some of your own space.
And I'm guessing you've seen some of these community gardens. How well kept up are they? I have this assumption or impression that you have a couple people who are very involved, and then some of them might pull back for various reasons, and you wonder if anybody else will kind of take the lead. Yeah,
so I have a friend who's got a space in the Fairport community garden, and everyone does their share. I think it's to me, it looks like the ultimate community in not just taking care of your own space, but also kind of looking out for each other's tomatoes and green beans at the same time.
Are there any openings for supervisors? Because I'd be very good at that.
Yes, I will pass your name along.
Okay.
So yes, thank you.
So what type of stuff do you grow in a community garden? What do you look for if you're going to create one?
So it depends on where you live. Even within Rochester, we've got a range of things that can or can't grow, and it depends on the soil and how much sun it gets in that particular space, and what you like. So some people plant just a salad garden, which is what I'm doing this year. Just 2 kinds of lettuce, a couple of different kinds of herbs, and that's it. Some people love their tomatoes and make all kinds of sauce and salsa. So it depends on what you really like to grow.
Not to get too specific here, but this isn't one of those situations where, because you have your own plot within the garden, and that stuff is yours, as opposed to everybody sharing in the overall crop. Okay.
Yes, usually. I've seen it both ways.
Right.
I used to live in Pennsylvania, and they've got a huge community garden there that they do share parts of it. So some of the plots are for shared purposes. Here in Rochester, an organization called Rochester Roots has their own garden and teaches children how to plant and grow. And then they have, I think, 3 different schools where they've got gardens as well, and that's for shared purposes.
Yeah, I think that's really important for kids to see where their food comes from. You ask a lot of them these days, and they'll say, "Oh, from the grocery store,"
or the drive-through. Even worse.
Yes.
So if people wanted to start their own, let's say they don't have a community that's interested in doing this, and they might want to do it themselves, how do you recommend they get started? What type of investment are they looking at?
It depends. So I think budget is the first thing. So if you have $10, I spent $8 on seeds at Crossman's, which is a local seed company, and they're a company that's been around since 1838 here in Rochester. So I spent $8. That'll yield probably hundreds of dollars of produce. Now you also need some dirt and some space, so whether you just put them in pots. This basil is from Wegmans. I just put it right in a pot, so you can do that. I found seeds at the dollar store, so maybe people aren't growing food, but they want to just plant some flowers, and these are just these scatter boxes, so you just find some space and put the seeds in. It depends, and it's a time factor as well, so I feel that's an access issue. Not everyone has all kinds of time to do that, but there are easy ways to just plant something.
Yeah, and then my father-in-law had his own garden, and he took it very seriously, and we all got involved under his supervision to a degree. But the best part was when you're sitting around the table and you're having a plate of vegetables, and they were the fruit of your own work. It's kind of cool.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's real pride in that, and definitely empowerment and the joy of seeing something go from a tiny seed to
Thanks,
dinner.
Kristin.
Yes.
Thanks for coming in on Earth Day.
So my pleasure.
Always appreciate your advice and work.
Great.
So Kristin Skarie joining us once again. Hey, weather, traffic, local headlines are coming up next.